So I used to be kind of clueless about how to train in the gym. I'd be doing dumbbells one day, calisthenics the next day, and overall it wasn't very productive. I knew I wanted to build a physique that's attractive to women, but I was unsure of how. So then I started taking it seriously. I got into the specifics about how to train, how to build muscle as fast as possible, and also which muscles I should actually be prioritizing. And from then on, I went from a physique like this, a bit skinny fat, low confidence, to a physique like this in just around 9 months' time. Now that video I just showed you, that was at a festival in the UK called Parklife. Now, I'd only been training for 9 months at this point, bear in mind. So throughout the day, when I had 10, 15 people come up to me, guys and girls, saying things like, how long have you been training? Your physique is so good. How are you so lean? I was flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. That's when I realized oh, this actually works. Your physique really does get you a lot of attention. Now, fast forward to today, around 2 years later, and my physique is even better, still improving every day. And my results with women, 100 times better. Unbelievable. So today I'm going to show you exactly which muscle groups to prioritize for maximum attraction and how to build them efficiently. Most guys waste a lot of time in the gym just focusing on the wrong muscle groups that are not going to get them the desired effects that they want. Today, I'm going to save you that time and just show you what works and what actually gets noticed. Now, there's a massive difference between muscles that visually impact how a girl sees you and just overall size. You don't want the physique of a Samoan rugby player that's just massive. You want the physique of a fitness model, of a Hollywood actor, a V-taper physique that actually makes a girl stop and stare. The muscles that I'm going to talk about in this video create a dramatic change in your appearance, in your physique, because they give you that V-taper physique, triangle type of shape that's really attractive to women. A slim waist, wide lats, wide shoulders, and a nice upper chest to fill out the physique. That is genuinely the type of physique that's going to make women want to fuck you, rather than a physique that's just focused on size, being big, being strong and muscular. You're going to be strong anyways, but you're going to have the added benefit of being sexy. Now, what are some of the muscles that men tend to think have a good effect when they're actually kind of overrated? These are going to be things like your upper traps, your forearms. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't train every muscle if you need to. You shouldn't have any lagging body parts that are visible that will take away from your physique. But it's just a fact that some muscles are going to have to take priority. Some of the muscles that we're going to talk about have a bigger visual impact than the other ones. Now, when you tend to train things like the upper traps, and especially when you overtrain them, you tend to get like a bull physique, like a unit, like a stocky physique. We're not going for that. We're going for a sexy V-taper physique that's going to get you the girls that you want. We're not just trying to build a huge physique, build muscle everywhere, anywhere that you can, as much as possible. No, we're strategically developing our physique for the physique that we want. When you try to build muscle everywhere and anywhere as much as possible, you get a less than ideal physique. But when you strategically develop your plan and the muscles that you want to build to get the desired effects, that's when you build an amazing physique that will attract women. You know them guys that say, I started going to the gym, I thought I'd get girls, but I only get compliments from guys. The gym doesn't help you get girls. Those guys make me laugh because they're fucking idiots. That only happens when you go to the gym without a purpose, without a plan. You just push weights around like an animal. We're going to be a bit smarter than that. Now I'll go over exactly which muscle groups to prioritize, and then I'll go over exactly how to train them. The first one is going to be your shoulders, and especially the lateral delt. Now, like I said before, we're going for a V-taper physique. That starts with a slim waist, going into your wide lats and your wide shoulders, right? The lateral delt is going to add width to your physique, and it's going to make you look good. Now, the front delt is also important, and the rear delt, of course, but that's a bit less important. But those three together are going to give you a nice rounded shoulder that looks good from all angles. Now, the best exercises for your shoulders are going to be lateral raises. First of all, for that lateral delt, like I said, is very important, and overhead press. Now, with overhead press, a common mistake I see is that guys are doing overhead press at an angle like this. Now, what you have to do is stack your elbow and your wrist together so that you can actually push with the full force of your shoulder. It's going to feel a lot better, and it's going to be better for your muscle growth as well. For the lateral raises, you can do dumbbells, you can do cables, you can do the machine. It doesn't really matter, whatever you like best. But I prefer stable exercises like machines, and I'll explain why after I've gone through all the muscles. Now, your lats are going to be the second muscle that are going to be very important to build that V-taper physique. Your lats start at your waist, they connect at your waist, and they go up from there leading into the shoulders. You don't want to have your waist like this and then just leading in a straight line up to your waist. that's not going to be a nice looking physique. The problem you have there, if you have that type of physique, which you probably do, is combination of your waist isn't slim enough and your lats are not developed enough. I remember when I first started looking at my physique and thinking, oh shit, I actually look good, is when I saw the gap between my waist and my lats. Like there's a little gap where you can see that it's starting to go an angle like this. Once you get that, that's when you realize, oh my gosh, I've actually got an amazing physique. Now for the lats, the only exercise that I actually do is lat pull downs. That works them enough for me. But as an alternative, you can do pull-ups, although they're less stable. Or a great alternative is going to be a seated row, chest supported, with your elbow tucked like this so it actually biases the lat. Now the third muscle is going to be your upper chest. We don't train the lower chest around here. We don't want saggy boobs. Forget that. Just the upper chest. I only train the upper chest because I think I've got good genetics for chest. Now, if you need to do some mid pressing that's going to train like more of your mid pecs, then go for it. But for the upper chest, that's really going to fill out your physique. It's going to turn your physique from just a sexy physique into a sexy masculine physique, which is what girls want. Now, the absolute best exercise that I found for your upper chest is going to be some type of incline converging chest press. Now, incline is obviously just the angle of the press, and converging means that as you press, your elbows are getting closer together, like from outside to in. Now, this exercise is absolutely amazing for biasing your upper chest, and it just feels so good to do, honestly. Unfortunately, I don't have one of these in my regular gym. It's kind of a rare machine to find for me, to be honest. But if you do have one of these in your gyms, then amazing, go for it. As a next best alternative, what I do is an incline Smith machine press. Unfortunately, it's not convergent, but it still does the job effectively. So the last muscle that's going to have the biggest impact on attraction and allow you to build an attractive physique is going to be the abs. Now, before you go spamming core workouts, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't train your obliques. Do not train your obliques, because your obliques, when you overtrain them especially, is going to make your core thicker. That's not what we want. We want a V-taper physique like this, like a triangle. The bottom of a triangle is thin. That should be your waist. When you train your obliques, you thicken your waist, which is against the point of the V-taper. So when you're training your core, it's just going to be the front. Now, the best exercises for this are going to be hanging leg raise. So you put weight between your legs like a medicine ball and just lift it up with your knees. Make sure your legs are slightly bent, but then just lift from the bottom to about 90-degree angle. That's good. Now, second exercise you can do is a weighted sit-up. Again, you can get heavy medicine ball or a plate or a dumbbell, whatever you like, and put it across your arms like this, and then get on a sit-up machine and just do sit-ups like that. You should be able to do weight at this point. If not, then spam sit-ups until you can do them with weight. Your abs are going to be quite important to build for an attractive physique. Now, they don't really contribute to the V-taper per se, but as someone else is looking at your physique, it's often the first thing that they notice. Does he have abs or does he not? Some people are lean enough, right? And they've just not developed their abs enough to see them. But the majority of people, and probably you, are just too fat to see their abs. So if you're not already lean, you have to get that sorted. And I'll give you a quick overview on that later. Now, for all those exercises and muscles that I just mentioned, let's go over some principles. How often do we train? How hard do we train? How many sets, reps, everything. So how often do you train, or what's known as your split? Now, I started with a push-pull legs physique for a few months, and I've tried everything, to be honest. Upper, lower, full body, push-pull legs, bro split, all of them. Now, what I'm doing currently, and what I've been doing for the past year and a half, 2 years, is upper, lower. This split is absolutely amazing. High frequency, you can train hard, you can recover. Now, the way I format it is upper, lower rest, upper, lower rest, upper, lower rest. I just cycle through that. Now, obviously, I'm not perfect. I might skip a day here or there. You know, I might have to go fuck a girl instead of going to the gym every now and again. I'm allowed to do that because I already have a good physique. You're not allowed to do that until you look similar to me. But generally, upper, lower rest is how I do it. Because you're going to be doing quite low volume, which I'm going to talk about in a second, it's important to stick to your schedule as strictly as you can. If you keep skipping days, then it's going to start to eat away at your potential muscle growth for the week, for the month. Now, we don't want that. We want to build a physique, a good physique, as quickly as possible. So stick to the schedule as strict as you can, and you're going to see good results. Don't ever be that guy that says, I'll just go to the gym tomorrow instead. No, because you keep procrastinating, you keep putting it off. If you need to go to the gym today, if it's in your schedule, go today. Turn it into a habit, and in the future, when you already have a sexy physique, going to the gym is going to be so much fun. Now, volume and intensity for your muscles, very important. I'm lucky I learned this early on, and that's why I built such a good physique in such a short amount of time. So for every muscle, every single muscle, all the muscles I mentioned and all the muscles I didn't mention as well, it's going to be 2 sets per workout. So per session, you're going to pick an exercise, either the exercises I mentioned or whatever you like. It's best to do the exercise that you actually enjoy because you're going to train the hardest in it. So you pick an exercise and you do 2 sets on it. That's it. That's it for that session. That's it for that muscle for that session. And within those 2 sets, if you've been in the gym for like less than a year, I'd say, you're going to take them to failure. Failure means that, say you're doing incline Smith machine press, for example. We're going to go 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, right? Now we go for the 8th and it's not going up. That's it. Stop the set there. When you're more advanced in the gym like myself and you're familiar with the intensity that you're training at, you can then take the set to 0 reps in reserve. So instead of stopping at failure, you stop at the point where you know you won't get another rep. So like that example, if I complete the 7th rep and I know that I won't get another rep, then that's when I stop the set. Combining low volume and high intensity is going to be the absolute best combination for muscle growth. You're going to recover faster, you're going to get stronger faster. Now, don't be that guy who's doing 8 sets on a machine at 30% intensity. Fuck that. Do you want an attractive physique or do you not? Or do you just want to do cardio on the machines at the gym? Like I said, every single muscle is going to be trained the same way. You pick one exercise and you do 2 sets on it. I would recommend to stick with the same exercise over a long period of time because that will allow you to get the strongest on it and therefore build the most muscle. All the small muscles are getting trained the same, rear delts, biceps or whatever. You're going to train them the exact same way as you train your larger muscles like your chest or your legs. And all your sets, every muscle, you're going to do them between 4 and 8 reps. That's going to be pretty much the optimal rep range to minimize fatigue within your sets, which will allow you to train harder for the future sessions. Now, why do I recommend stable exercises like machines rather than free weights like dumbbells? Because with free weights like dumbbells, for example, you have to coordinate and stabilize the weight yourself. That's going to take some amount of effort that you could be putting into the set instead. With a machine, it's going to stabilize that weight for you. So all your effort can go into lifting the weight. That's going to lead to faster progressive overload. Now, progressive overload is when you increase either the weight or the reps that you do within a set. For example, if I'm doing an 80-pound bicep curl, one session for 5 reps. Now the next session, 3 days later, I do that same weight for 6 reps. That's progressive overload. Now you can assume that you've built muscle. When you're new in the gym, your rate of progressive overload is going to be fast. When you're more advanced, it's going to be slower. But ultimately, we're all trying to do the same thing, keep progressively overloading. You're going to get stronger, you're going to build muscle, and that's how you know that you're actually doing those things. Now, how fast are we going to see results? So, like I said, if you're new in the gym, let's say you're a complete beginner, you're going to be seeing very fast progress, very fast progressive overload. When I was new in the gym, I was increasing my reps on a specific exercise by like 2, 3, even 4 reps per session. That's an insane amount of growth. Now it's more like a rep every 2 sessions, give or take. You can choose which muscles you want to train first in your session. Just make sure you put the attractive ones that I've mentioned first. Now the specific order of each muscles, that's up to you to decide. It will just depend on your genetic strengths and weaknesses. And as you go along, you can then adjust it. You can adjust it every now and again to start prioritizing different muscles. That's completely fine. When you start to build that V-taper physique, like I said, when you start to see your lats from the front, when you start to see your shoulders a bit cupped, when you've got a nice visible six-pack, that's when you start to see a lot of increased attention from women. There's going to be women start to approaching you, like if you're shirtless, for example, on the beach. Even with this physique, I was attracting a decent amount of women, to be fair. But now with this physique, it's like I just look at a woman and she's like, what the fuck, what am I seeing? Who is this? Is he a model? That's the type of physique that you want to aim for. Now, a quick overview on nutrition, because being lean is very important for building an attractive physique. And you're not going to see all that hard work you've put in the gym if you're not at a low body fat percentage. You want to be around 8 to 12% body fat. Now, me personally, I've been slightly higher. I've been like even 14, 15% body fat. And overall, it was less than ideal. Worse experience with women, you feel worse, you feel heavy. So I would recommend staying under that. Now, you might accidentally get there, or you might be above that already. You probably are, to be honest. So that's why I'm saying you have to get lean first. If you accidentally go to like 14, 15% body fat because you miscalculate your calories or something, it's not the end of the world. You still look okay, right? But realistically, you want to be in that 8 to 12% range. That's when you're going to be the most attractive. You're going to have veins in your abs. Your face is going to look sharp. You're going to be very attractive overall to women. And that's what we want. So how do we get lean? You want to figure out your maintenance calories and then subtract calories from there to be in a calorie deficit. Now, to figure out your maintenance calories, you can use what's called a total daily expenditure calculator. I always use tdeecalculator.net. I'll even link it in the description. I have no idea who created it, but I've always used it and it's worked decent for me. So once you've got your maintenance calories, you then subtract calories from there to be in a calorie deficit, and that's what's going to actually make you lose body fat. You can do your own experimentation with your weight, weighing yourself every day to see if your weight loss is satisfactory, but as a rough estimate, it's going to be somewhere around there. Once you've got the amount of calories that you're going to be eating each day, you go for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Very important for your muscle and to keep building muscle as you're in a deficit. Now, you go for 0.33 to 0.4 grams of fat per pound of body weight. That's going to be a decent range to keep your fats kind of low, but still have decent hormone function, so you don't have a soft dick. And the rest of your calories are going to come from carbs. You're going to fill out the rest of them with carbs. High carbs is good for when you're in a deficit because it's going to keep as much glycogen in your muscle as possible, which makes you look better as you cut, and it's going to fuel your performance in the gym. My diet consists of a lot of red meat, so I find it really easy to eat enough protein, and also there's a lot of creatine in red meat, so I don't personally take any supplements, but if your diet doesn't have enough red meat in it, then either add red meat, which I'd recommend, or you can take creatine, which I'd recommend as well. Okay, so I know that there's some guys that say, my genetics are too bad, my genetics are shit. You have this physique because of good genetics. You don't understand the type of sacrifices that I've made to have this physique. If you make the same sacrifices, you have the same consistency, the same discipline. Look, if you have the same discipline that it talks about in a book like this, you're going to have this physique. It's really that simple. If you've not gone to the gym consistently for 5 years, now I've only been going for about 2.5, almost 3 years now, but let's account for bad genetics and say 5 years. 5 years in the gym, consistent training, consistent diet, consistent sleep, all these things. If you've not been doing that for 5 years, you can't tell me about bad genetics. I won't take you serious. I honestly don't believe that there's anyone in this world that has done all those things perfectly for a long amount of time and they've not achieved an amazing result. It's not possible. The only guys that say they have bad genetics and this and that are guys that train like shit, eat like shit, sleep like shit, and it's just not good enough. Now, how do you get through a plateau, whether that's with progressive overload in the gym or with weight loss in your diet? First of all, make sure everything's optimized. You might think you're on a plateau, but you're just not eating enough food, or you're just eating too much food, or your training hasn't been at the same intensity. Make sure that everything is perfect, like I've shown you to do in this video, and then you can actually see if it's a plateau or you just stalled with your consistency and discipline. If you've actually stalled in your weight loss for like longer than a week, then it's likely that your maintenance calories have dropped, whether that's through lack of exercise or you've lost enough weight that your maintenance calories are now lower. You just need to go reanalyze and get back into a calorie deficit. Things that I've done for optimizing my recovery: first of all, make sure I'm eating the same foods every day. That's going to lead to a consistent diet. You know you're hitting your macros every day. It's nice and easy. Next, sleep in a cold, dark room to get that high quality sleep. I'd say 9 or 10 hours a night is amazing. Now, some people might say that's excessive, but then again, they're sleep deprived and they look sleep deprived, and I'm not, so I probably wouldn't listen to them. And third, stick to the approach that we talked about in the gym. When you're doing like 4, 5, 6 sets, and especially to failure, like even I've done it before, that's going to greatly increase your recovery time, make it hard to recover for your next session. Stick to what you need to be doing and you're going to recover perfectly. Lastly, some people might not have enough time to do like a 45 to 1 hour workout in the gym. More than likely, you do have the time, you just putting it off for whatever reason. So don't be a bitch. But if you genuinely don't have the time, you work long hours, 12-hour shifts, something like that, instead of doing upper lower, you can do full body. With full body, because you're working pretty much every muscle in your body, it's going to be a long workout unless you do 1 set. So if you're doing full body, I'd recommend to genuinely do 1 set to failure for every muscle and then do that every other day. It'll take you like half an hour, but do it every other day. And you're going to be resting for 3 minutes in between each of your sets. I did actually forget to mention that in the earlier section. So very quick recap, make sure you're trying to build that V-tape physique, the slim waist with the clear defined abs, going into the lats, going into the shoulders, nice lateral delts, and a big upper chest. That's going to be the most attractive physique for women, and you're going to look sick. You're going to go into the bathroom every morning, you're going to be like, oh shit, I actually look amazing. You develop all those components of a V-tape physique and the results are crazy. You're going to be fucking girls in bathrooms for no reason, just because you can, just because you have a nice physique. Now for this video, drop a like and watch this one next as well.